Today we're going to be examining the use of analytics from big data in the corporate setting and how this can expand profitability. First, we want to look at what exactly constitutes big data, as well as what is analytics. Big data is a set of data that's currently at or will grow at a volume that makes it difficult to manage using existing database management concepts and tools. This data might contain multiple content types and formats, from microblogs to emails to standard structured data. With a big data perspective, we want to look at all of this data together, as well as be able to create segmented views. Analytics is a systematic analysis of data for data-driven decision-making. Next, we're going to look at how big data differs from other data. There are three dimensions that big data differs on. The first is volume. Big data volume is typically measured in terabytes and petabytes. An example of the scope of big data is Google searches. In 2012, there were an average of 3.5 billion searches per day, each of which generated data for analysis. The second dimension is velocity. Big data often comes from sources that can provide continuous input of new data. The third dimension is variety. Data might come from sources like Twitter, Facebook, customer emails, web analytics platforms, or demographic data, among others. There are some existing use cases for big data in corporate environments. Healthcare is a field where big data can and has provided value to both companies and patients. Big data allows researchers to extract new insights by analyzing a large data set to find actionable correlations. Rather than strictly relying on existing knowledge about a diagnosis to create a hypothesis to test for treatment and prevention, this allows for the potential for finding meaningful items to stand out from within the data to test. Retail is another industry that is using big data. They're gathering information about their consumers to provide more personalized marketing and recommendations for future purchases. Financial companies are able to use data generated from the over $1 trillion in mobile payments to analyze against fraud, which is beneficial both to the companies and their consumers. Online game companies are also able to provide immediate updates to their games based on generated player use data. The wide swath of industry shows that there is potential in any industry for big data. There are some challenges to using big data as well. Privacy is a big concern for both companies and both the companies holding the data as well as consumers themselves. Because of the wide variety of data available, it's possible to reassociate the individual's identity with their data even after it's been scrubbed to remove personal details. The current practice is notification and consent, or in most cases, notification and consent is implied unless the consumer acts to remove themselves from data collection. Inaccurate correlations are another challenge facing big data analysis. As more data is utilized, it can become more difficult to separate the noise from the message and create consistently accurate correlations. One of the more prevalent examples of this was the Google Flu Prediction Tool's predictions for the 2012-2013 flu season. It drew incorrect correlations and led to over-predicting the severity of the flu season. The other challenge that tends to affect companies on a more individual basis, and that is the struggle of how to use big data in the decision-making process, allowing it to provide insights and demand for better techniques, tools, and approaches. Finally, we're going to look at the recommendations for starting to use big data analysis. First and foremost, it is important to define the business case for which you want to accomplish and gain from the data. This can help with getting overwhelmed with the sheer volume of data available and keep the project on track. Next, make sure the system put in place for handling the data and performing analysis is scalable. This will allow the data set to grow, as well as the project to begin with one or two of the goals and expand at a more gradual rate. Finally, the system should also be flexible. Flexibility affords the potential to make quick and cost-effective changes. As the amounts and types of data increase, being flexible can be the deciding factor in profitability. Thank you.